Hello team and welcome to episode 11 of our discussion series. Today's topic is a very big topic, is myth busting. So this is the myths, fallacies and misconceptions of certain things that you may have been told or certain training styles.
Just things you believe,
Yeah.
you've heard.
Things that you've heard that you've got to do when you do certain movements. We're not going to do every myth in the world because we think that we could do several episodes with the amount of myths in.
This is a good topic, I think, for people to give feedback and say, what about this?
What about this? Yeah. So
this could be a part 1, part 2, part 3. Who knows?
So if you have anything after this episode that you think, is this true? Then give us a little DM or comment below. So first one. I suppose we did that in one of our previous episodes, but we'll just do it brief.
It's the notion of people believing that if you're injured or if you're older, you should ease off and stop and not do anything, when in fact the opposite is true. The older you get, the more you need to do.
Yeah, so being active as you get older, I think arthritis is one of the biggest things that comes in as you get age.
Yeah. And bone density as well goes.
Prevention of osteoporosis is to continue moving. Now, we're not saying that you're going to be moving at the rate of when you were 30 years old,
or younger,
but it's massive to keep training as you get older.
As I've said, the phrase I've said lots of times is, if you slow down, you go down.
Go down, yeah. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah,
so I have multiple clients above 60 years old that are training. Some of them have just started doing gym training because they want to be, they want to be moving better when they're 80 and they're 90. So
it's nice to have someone who is older than you can beast. I've got a guy, I think he's 66, and I can fuck him up.
Yeah.
I don't have to think,
I've got to think about that. Yeah.
I know him well enough to be like, no, I can just piece of shit out you.
Oh yeah, I agree. There's a couple of my older clients that, I can think off the top of my head, one of my clients who comes here and does body combat and body attack, and then comes upstairs and does PT with me, and runs, and she's close to 70 years old. So, but do I fear that I'm going to injure her in any way? No, and does she modify things when she does those classes? Yes, but if she goes, I can't do that, she's just aware of what she can and cannot do. And
I think that's important to know what you're able to and not able to do.
What your limitations are. And sometimes those limitations are probably a bit lower than actually further up than you think they are. So you're probably never going to hit your limit.
Yeah.
You're capable of
101% could be, you're actually thinking,
probably only doing about 80% of it.
Yeah, whereas you could push more and not, hurt yourself, whatever.
Obviously, we've mentioned in the episode previously about whether or not you should train with injuries, and we obviously probably came out of that episode, I haven't watched it in a while, but we probably came out of that episode saying, yes, you can, as long as it's not a really serious injury, but you can work around, adapt movements, rehab, prehab, whatever it is, that injury.
You have to know what you're able to do with the injury or whatever. You have to know what will help, what won't help. So it's not just a case of you're injured, go and do stuff. It's you're injured, go and do the right stuff.
Yeah. Again, it's that limitations thing. So within reason, what can and you cannot do. And again, useful to ask a trainer a lot of the time as to what feels right, what you suggest to do to make sure that you're not going to continuously.
But you can use common sense, and it's just a case of if something
hurts,
then don't do it. Yeah. If you've got a problem in a certain area and you're doing something, it doesn't hurt, it doesn't cause you any problems, there's no reason you can't do that, even though you're doing something with that joint or that muscle. If it's not causing you any problem, I would say 999 times out of 1,000, there's no reason you can't do it.
I think I can use myself as an example at the moment. I've got a shoulder injury that's kind of stopping me doing anything pushy on my handstand push-ups. It's very difficult. Squats just because of the position of the bar, but I can deadlift 90 kilos off the floor. So
you work around. You do what you can do.
Yeah. So it's about like, I know that I'm not going to hurt myself doing deadlifts, but I know I am going to hurt myself if I do heavy press. So don't do heavy
or
press.
aggravate the problem, not necessarily hurt yourself, which I suppose aggravating it will hurt.
It is. You know when you're doing something that's not good. You know, you kind of go, oh, I shouldn't have probably done that, or you know, you're out for and you're just out for a few more days, and then it probably will affect. So if I did something, then it would affect my shoulder for deadlifts, and I don't need that. So, but I'm not pushing that injury.
I've never heard of a shoulder aggravating from deadlifts. I can't get my head around that. It doesn't make sense.
Obviously,
your arms are literally just being used as hooks for the bar, effectively. You're not using the shoulders.
I think the bit that stopped me doing deadlifts with my shoulder was when it was at its worst, was probably because other things were being affected around it. That was just what happened. But I haven't been able to do other stuff, but I can do that. So I'm just going to take it as a win. So.
The one that always makes me laugh is squats are bad for your knees.
Mythbuster 2, squats are bad for your knees.
It's like, no. What that could be is a specific type of way you're squatting is bad for you specifically, because you have, you might have an injury that particular way of squatting is not going to be great for you. Like if someone's got, ACL problem, well, they've torn it, I'm not going to get them to do knees forward front squat, sissy squat.
All that force onto their front.
But you get them to sit back and use a box maybe and take the pressure or everything away from the knee. It's still a squat pattern.
I think that in general training that I've done, especially recently, to be fair, because a lot of the people that I've had are like, oh, it hurts my knees when I squat. It's technique. It's all majority of the time it's how you're squatting.
Or it's just you haven't got the prerequisites to do the squat. It's not the squat.
The squat is not the problem. Yeah.
You are the problem. Yeah. Without sounding rude, it's like there's nothing wrong with this. The squat is fine. The squat is a fundamental evolutionary movement. But you just haven't got the capability to do it. Yeah. So let's find out.
Or haven't been taught correctly. The amount of times I've seen people go, yeah, I can squat, and I go, go on then. And they're like, but it hurts my knees. And I'm like, the biggest one for me is people don't sit back enough and don't sit into their heels enough. And people are pushing through their toes. So you're thinking all that pressure's going through your knee, basically, rather than through your heels, and actually goes to the space that's big, which is your bum. And then the other thing is...
Quads don't squat, hips and hamstrings do.
The other thing I found is people's shoes affect everything. Yeah. So we squat tends to be Converse, really flat shoe. And recently I've been getting people to take their shoes off because they've got such thick soles on their shoes, like these actually, to be fair. This is quite thick, although I can squat all right in these because I know the basics of that squat. But then they suddenly drive with their heels with a flat foot on the floor, and the knee pain goes away straight away.
The one that's also funny is people who have just decided I'm going to start squatting. They automatically go and buy themselves a pair of heeled Olympic lifting shoes as if you need those. So no, learn how to squat first before you start.
Choose the fundamentals first.
Don't go out and buy a £150 pair of shoes, but you've only got 5 pence squat. Learn how to squat first. Don't have a shit squat, all the gear and no idea.
My other thing is people doing really heavy squats and barely squatting. Yeah. That bounce squat, like not even half a rep, quarter rep. Yeah. And they're like, oh, my knee's really hurt. And
because all you are doing is shearing the knee joint.
So learn to squat, basically. Yeah. And that means don't jump yourself on a squat rack straight away.
No, if you need to
do a body weight squat.
Go down as far as you can and then gradually build up.
I
will always teach. I will 99 times out of 100 teach people it with a box if they can't get it right. If they don't need the box, then I won't. There's no really need to use it. But if their squat is shit, I will always teach it with a box, because you can teach someone to be the best squatter in the world, and you can be the best squat coach in the world in 5 to 10 minutes with a box. It could take you all day without box.
To take the box away, I've used all different ways of trying to help people with squats. I've used suspension trainers, big stability balls on a wall has been a good one, just so people get the idea of what it should feel like.
Yeah, but it does.
But you need to take that away.
Yeah, as I said, neither squatting with a ball behind you against the wall or with like a TRX, neither of those are going to carry over to doing it without those. The only application for those is with those pieces of information. You could do wall squats with a ball for 20 years and be amazing at it. To then go and squat with a bar on your back,
it's a completely different experience.
It won't work.
For me, it's just that basis of what to engage, where you should feel it, how it should feel.
Just getting used to going up and down.
Doing that movement, getting your legs to move in that particular way,
and to feel how far your joints can
go. Yeah, the depth you can get with a suspension trainer, stroke TRX.
Sit on the fucking ground.
Yeah, and a ball, you can get as low to the floor as you bloody like.
Yeah,
but
because you're supported.
You won't be able to do that straight off the bat.
But you wouldn't even be able to do that just body weight without those supporting apparatus.
Yeah. I do that so that people engage certain muscles that are going to help them from other stuff, like issues with other things. But yeah, so at the end of the day, learn how to do it properly before you start putting big bars on your back.
But learn how to do it from someone who does actually know how to teach it and how to do it themselves. Not just, someone over there is doing squats. I don't know if it's right or not. I'm going to go and ask them to show me.
I think the biggest thing...
But that's the problem is you won't know if someone knows how to teach it until you spend some time with them. You could spend an hour with someone and you've gone nowhere.
I think the biggest thing I hear for squats is people want to keep their back like that all the way through the squat, like you know how they just sit back and they almost fall backwards as if they've got a ball behind their back. Yeah. Like they've got to keep so rigid that they end up going backwards, and there's not even this kind of slight give to it, and keeping their back squeezed.
You have to work with how your
body's going to work. Yeah. And then
some people can squat perfectly upright, but typically that's people who stand really wide and they have squat suit and gear on because they don't. You won't really fall over.
Forward,
But you have to know how to use them. That's
That's a completely different. But yeah, so don't feel like you need to. You'll hear straight back, and I hate that because no one's back is straight.
No, you want to squat with a static arched back, not a straight. People might not like this. A neutral spine for a squat isn't what you want. You want an arch because that's where the tension and the flexion.
Well, if you've got a neutral spine, you mean you're relaxed.
Exactly.
You don't want to be relaxed in a squat. You want to be tight as fuck.
The only thing that wants to move in a squat is your hips. You want a static back, and your shin wants to be.
You don't want bars rocking forward.
It's literally just the hips, back
and
forward.
Yeah. Hinging.
Yeah. Another one that people, especially here, they get is I don't know if I want to get my child to do lifting because it stunts their growth. That's absolute nonsense.
Bad for them. Well, yeah, we get that a lot here as well because we do what's called junior gym, and people come up to me and go, "Are they even allowed to do this?" And it's like, why not?
Yeah, but children's skeletons are more. This isn't quite the right term, but they're more squidgy than an adult.
Supple.
Yeah, that's the word.
Squidgy.
I knew squidgy wasn't the word. That's why I said. Like a child could fall out of a tree and be fine. A 65-year-old man falls out of the tree from the same height. They're broken both legs. So kids can get away with doing things that older people can't because they're
more pliable in their bones.
Yeah, that's the word I was originally going to say, but I didn't know if that worked. But yeah. And another one that was always is kids shouldn't lift weights above their heads because it's going to stunt their growth.
So
that's absolute fucking nonsense.
Yeah, I think
you want to teach kids to lift fundamental movement patterns from as young as possible.
Yeah. Well, I worked in a kids gym and it was for ages 4 and up. Now the weights equipment in there was for age 8 and above, but that was fine because we actually ended up teaching kind of the 4 to 7-year-olds fundamental functional movements.
But if you want to be a good lifter, you want to start from
when
7
you're
or 8
young,
or 10 at max. If you try to start to learn to lift from 25, it's too late.
How do you think these gymnasts that are all over the Olympics, they've been learning since they were itty bitty? Yeah. And if you told them, sorry, you can't do any strength training when you're 13, they wouldn't be Olympic athletes. Yeah. So yes, you do need to be mindful of, but like anybody that comes in the gym, like if you're 35, you've never done strength training or weight training before, you treat them like a beginner. Like you treat them like they're 10 and they've only just started weight training. So there is literally nothing wrong. It's about adapting like as we said with the older people, you adapt to the limitations of the person.
If
Doesn't
they're
matter.
able, if they're able to do it and they are 6 years old,
Do it.
there's no reason not. The Soviets were the best lifters in the world, and they would teach the kids Olympic lifting, weightlifting from between 6 and 10 years old. That's when you start to do it, and then that's when you learn.
You can progress so much quicker. You teach a kid a language when they're 5. They're more likely to retain that language.
Exactly.
Like kids' brains and bodies absorb more information than any adults.
It's like learning to ride a bike. Do it when you're young.
Then you learn.
Exactly.
But
you can still learn, or swimming. Like you typically learn how to do these things. You can drown when you're 3 years old. But you still teach them to do it from a young age.
Because it's going to help them at the end of the day. If they're learning functional movements from day dot,
then weight, so what? It will build their skeleton.
You're not asking them to come along with a 60-kilo deadlift and go, right, crack on. Although if they're 10 years old and 12, because I actually saw a 12-year-old fucking lift 60 to 70 kilo deadlift the other day, and I was like, fair play.
I've seen videos of guys of Russian kids who are 7, and he's done like competition and pulled like 120 kilo. It's like because he's learned how to do it from younger, and they just build up.
And he's clearly safe doing it because he can do it. So is it a bad lift? No. It's.
No, they're great. It's
competition.
They pass in a competition, like a proper meet.
But it's like anything. Like if you learn football at a young age and you play football as a 7-year-old.
Exactly. How many young kids at 6 years old or even younger, and they go to kids rugby?
I actually think Cristiano Ronaldo was playing football at 17 years old. He didn't get good at 17. He got good when he was 5.
Lewis Hamilton started.
He was motor racing when he was 8.
You start things young, and then it progresses in whatever your field is. Michael Schumacher was
so young.
I watched a thing on him a few days ago. He was doing kart racing when he was about 5, and then you just build on it.
So how do you get good? You do things from a young age and go up. So I think training for children, crack on. Do it safe.
As long as it's safe, you can do all of it.
Meet their limitations, and if anything, you want to try and push their limitations because that's how they're going to get better, and that's how everyone gets better.
That's at the age and their stage in life when you can push it, because they're not going to hurt themselves. Like I said about falling out of a tree, you're not going to push it really with someone who's 75.
There's no point.
You can push it with them if they're 14. They're not going to hurt themselves.
But stunted growth. That's a bit of that's a very old school thing to think about.
It's just I don't know where that's come from. That's just straight up not true.
You need to be mindful of things that they are as children and adolescents, and they are growing. Fine, but
of the same things that you as an adult would be
worried about.
You just got to not worry too much. I think. And another one is high reps.
Myth busting.
Make you lean and toned. High reps is for toning. No, it's not. Low body fat percentage is toning. I hate the term toning anyway. What does that mean?
I would say there's like at the beginning of training, I always tend to do high reps to start with.
To get
them used to movement patterns. And you don't want to be forcing shit-ton heavy weight at the beginning because their joints just aren't ready for it. Yeah. But I don't do high reps. And I look all right.
You need to build a base with repetitions as a beginner. Everyone. And then you build on that. Yeah. I'm not suggesting if you want to get stronger or whatever, you still have to start off with reps because you need to build muscle mass. Yeah. Weight moves weight. The more muscle mass you can build on weight. You just have to know what to do.
Lean and toned is as you say, low body fat.
It's nothing to do with actually the training you do. You can be lean and toned and have fuck all on you. You just low body fat percentage.
And that's just not a fun life.
But when people, I don't know what really when people say tone up. I know what.
I want to lose weight and tone up.
I know what they want to mean, but in reality, I don't know what it is. What toning up means.
Well, my common thing is, I think I've mentioned in previous things of when to have an induction and things like that is, don't come in with that line. No. Don't come in with, I want to lose weight and tone up. You need to say specifically.
I literally say to them, I don't know
what do you want?
What do you mean by that? Yeah. You want to lose weight and starve yourself. You will lose weight. Yeah. You want to lose weight, cut a leg off. You'll lose weight.
True story.
How this actually goes on. This goes on to another point actually, which is actually another point that sort of that I've written down is, this is a big one. Is people come to, I've had this, and you've had it, everyone will have had this. You get someone comes in and says, oh, so what sort of thing do you want to go for? Well, I need to strengthen my lower back. What they mean is I've got
a
my
pain in
lower
my
back hurts.
Yeah.
I've been to see someone and they said it's weak, you need to strengthen it. Now I'm going to just start saying to people, you've just said to me, you need to strengthen your lower back. That's fine. Let's go do some good mornings. That's not what you actually need, because
we don't know what the
problem. But you've told me
you want to strengthen your lower back. Yeah.
So this will do it.
Whereas you could actually cut up someone's back because you don't actually know what the problem is.
Exactly, but
haven't been told what the problem is.
It's almost like you've come to me saying what you need to do. So you've obviously looked into it. I know full well they won't have done, but I'm going to play the fool and assume, well, you've obviously looked into what your problem is. So you've come to me to say this is what I need to do because I know this is what I need to do. Take me to it. It's like, you've got a painful lower back.
So actually, you want
what you need to do
this.
Is, and well, you need to train a lot of abs. You might have a disc compression, whatever. But you've just said you need to strengthen your lower back.
And if you've got a disc compression and we start doing shit like that.
And good mornings will strengthen your lower back. You need to know what you need to train.
Yeah.
Actually, that's actually a different point.
But to be fair, like you're saying, obviously higher reps, lean and tone, no. But then, we go in assuming that's what you want. So we give you a certain program, and that's the same with if you have a problem area, we're only going to give you what you've asked for.
Yeah.
So you need to really know what you want when you come in, because we can only...
And the pain area is very rarely actually what the problem is.
Yeah.
It's like not a knock-on effort, but it's like...
Could be anything.
People don't realise that. Oh, I've got a lower back problem, so therefore my lower back is the problem. Not necessarily.
Weak glutes, weak hamstrings, bad core,
posture.
Yeah, anything.
Psoas problem. Just get things assessed.
Usually sitting at the computer for far too fucking long, not getting up and walking around. So, which is the majority of your guys' problems. Any more myths, or shall we leave?
I think that it might be worth seeing if anyone gives us any to say, what about this? I've heard about this. Is this?
Yeah. Should you be doing this? Should you be doing that? Is this a bad thing to do in the gym? Is this a bad thing to do in life? Whatever it is, give us a shout. We're also looking for questions for our Q&As.
Yeah, we won't be doing them live though. We'll just be doing.
Just going to do a recorded Q&A for you guys.
So we can post it whenever.
Any comments, then leave them in the comments below or give us a DM, and we'll see you in episode 12. Have a good one, team.